So let's see. And I had Patreon pulled up because I was trying to be responsible. So it looks
Yep.
like Anne and Taylor both have videos. Does anyone else have video that they want us to be able to look at?
Yeah, I have a
Addie
couple
and
of
Alice?
videos that I didn't post, but they're on YouTube, so I can share them.
Great. Okay, so we'll start with Anne, and then we'll go through to everyone else. I don't know what order we'll do it in. We'll get to that when we get to that. So, Anne, you've got Zuzu, where your goal is working on a ready to work assessment with the ping pong game. Can you explain the ping pong game for us?
Yeah, yeah. I think a couple of us are in the Joe Lawrence's focus and engagement course now. And that game is an attention game. The ping pong game is an attention game where you first, when you're out in an out where you're going to search,
Uh-huh.
you put a piece of food down that the dog sees first on one side. Sorry, I'm like half blurred. And then dog eats it, freebie. And then when the dog gives you attention, you click and then you put a piece of food down on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So it's just it's a pattern game where then they learn like food, click, food, click, food, click, food, click, like that. And then her ready to work assessment was that the dog can do an engagement game like that, and then that the dog also can give you take a treat. So that's taking a treat from the ground. A dog can also take a treat from your hand, and the dog can just give you attention. And like you're kind of reading that to assess whether the dog's actually ready to get started to work, so that they have some degree of like ability to engage with you.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
I have a quick question.
yeah.
One, um, are you Anne or are you Sam Ann?
That's okay. Yeah, I'm Anne. And my husband and I share a Facebook account. And so when I meet people online, I tend to answer to both because I know that's why they're calling me
Oh,
Sam.
I always thought your name was Sam Ann, and I was like, like Joanne or Mary Ann,
Oh,
Sam
yeah,
Ann.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And then the other on the game, till you drop the treat, because I purchased the game, but I haven't started it, or the
Mhm.
course, but I haven't started it yet. You drop the treat, and when the dog looks back to you is when you click.
Yeah, so the first treat is on the ground is a freebie and they can just eat it. And then to get anything after that, they need to look at you. And then you're clicking for them looking at you.
The
And then
engagement.
the
Okay.
engagement. Yeah. And then their reward for that is a treat on the other side.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I did it, and I think I've seen people like throw it a little bit further to make like a chase out of it, but I did it really close because if she goes further from me, like, yeah, the attention, I'm not in the picture. So I did it like basically just like right next to me.
Yeah, I can see. I've always called that the right left right game.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure I'm sure it's the same thing, but yeah, like increasing the that arousal could be really nice for like building snappiness in like an agility dog or something, but I wouldn't necessarily use it the same. Like that would almost be like a training exercise versus arousal testing to me. Or might still be useful as arousal testing, but it's going to get you a different level of information as far as like, can the dog chase something down, go away from you, and come back to you? Like that is good to see. But yeah, as you said, like that's not necessarily something you'd expect from Zuzu right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's depending on your dog and your goal. I guess my goal is to bring her arousal level down
Yeah.
and to have her be able to know that I'm uh, alive
Noted.
and with her.
Oh, cool. Let's see. So let's go ahead and take a look at this.
And while you're getting it up, so I'm actually kind of that's where we parked and we had to walk a little bit. So a little tenuous. We had a little bit of a walk, which normally I wouldn't do, but I wanted to get something for us to see for today.
Nice. Yeah. Um,
You
yeah. And
can
as
tell
always,
her.
the disclaimer that I recently wrote a couple freelance writing reviews about crazy dog porn. So I'm not responsible, nor do I endorse any suggestions that come
Anything
up
in the
as many
sidebar?
people watch. Yeah. Don't judge me based on my YouTube sidebar.
It's really choppy for me, Kayla. I don't know if it's like that for anyone else.
You know what? I don't think I hit the optimize for video. I know better.
It's okay. The other day in a meeting, I was talking while my mute was on. I was like, wait, what year do I think this is? Like, I know to unmute myself before I start talking.
All right, let's see. Is that better?
Now it is.
Great. Oh, she's trying so hard.
I know she's such a this is us just like I'm just gonna try to walk and not die on the ice while we get to where I want to be. So the clicking here, this is just actually like if she's not pulling, a little bit of like
Yeah, a little
being
bit.
at my side. Yeah. And at this point, I was like, I should have just carried her, but here we are.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, sure, it might technically make your life better if you never let the dog get reinforced for pulling, but also, like, who has actually succeeded in that? It's all right.
Oh,
She's gonna be great at bike drawing if you ever want to do that. So
we were out on snowshoes today. And it's like, I'm not putting the cross country skis on. I am not. I'm gonna die.
yeah, not ready to remove traction.
Yeah. So this is where I was trying to start the game.
I think the walk actually did help though. Like even here, she looks a little bit better than she did like right out of the car.
Hmm.
That's nice. Be sure to click before you bend.
Okay.
You're doing a little bit of click and move. at the same
Yeah, you're
time,
right.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, again, whomst amongst us?
Well, it's good. At least I can think about it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that was a much like longer, stiller offered attention. Good girl.
Where are my hands? Where are my hands?
Yeah. Nice. That was much better timing. That was much cleaner. That one too. As she's slowing down, your timing is getting better, which also makes sense.
Her big reward is to eat treats right out of my tree pouch, which she was trying to do right then.
Yeah. Welcome, Megan. We just saw that you got in. Gosh, you guys are just such a joy to watch. She's so fun. Yeah. What are you using for treats here?
Cut up string cheese.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's nice and easy for her to find, and it's not like bouncing or rolling too badly on you. I say as it bounces and rolls.
Yeah, yeah. As soon as This was testing whether she could take it out of my hand.
Gotcha. And yeah, let's pause there. So what would you say is different for her about taking it out of your hand? Is that harder for her? Does she just bite the crap out of you?
Yes, I was following that protocol from that course. I think that she was saying it's harder, or it's like a next level of engagement for them to take it actually from your hand than to just chase things on the ground.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I guess it is more like having to engage fully with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's like not a game. It's like, here's a treat.
Yeah. You doing those rotator cuff exercises?
I was like, I should be ready for this. It happens every time.
I'm gonna have to send you this book about the bird dog that I'm reading once I'm done with it.
There's just a little spice star there. And that's
Nice.
her
Good job, being break. Done. I was supposed to say that before you moved.
horse
this.
bag, feed bag.
Very
You're
Yeah.
nice. All right, done. Fix that way.
She's already collected some birds, huh?
Girl, good job. Good.
She's got such lovely, like, for being so environmentally focused, her food engagement is also really nice with you. Did that
That's great.
come for free, or did you have to do a
No.
lot on that?
Actually, so Sonia
should I
and
stop?
Megan and I are in a little accountability chat. So they've just heard this recently. This is like within the past couple weeks. I showed them a video of her working outside and just like totally over aroused, not able to do anything. And in that Joe Lawrence class, one of the things she said was, because it's a common struggle with the bird dogs is to only feed. So for all, I mean, like stuff that I think I heard and years ago, like when I first got her and like disregarded, unfortunately, like didn't realize how important it was. But for all the food to become in training, well, I'm not saying this right, but like all the food that she eats comes by doing training and working for it instead of in a bowl. And I think I disregarded that a little bit because she's so skinny and we're always trying to put weight on her that I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I can just add treats on top of it. But what I changed was all her meals, kibble, comes from doing like little exercises in the house, like that ping pong game or play sport and stuff like that. And then, and that's all kibble, like that's all her regular food. And then any training outside gets like much higher value. So like
Gotcha.
the cheese. And I started doing that, I think it's been a week or so, week and a half. And I wouldn't have been able to do that a week and a half ago. She would have,
Wow.
she like spits treats back at me. She spits like sardines back at me.
Oh my gosh, really?
But she like was able to do this like now. I was over the moon. I was like almost crying when I was like putting that in the accountability chat like with Sonia and Megan a little like a few days ago because it was like this. I've never been able to do this, and it takes away so many tools. Like I've been trying. I mean, what I have learned is like a lot of like putting the go sniff on command and things like that or cue. But when I'm trying to have her focus on me, like that's really hard.
Right.
To use that to leverage it that way. I could use it at the end for a reward. So yeah, this is life changing.
Well, your patience and handling of her is also really beautiful. Like she looks like a fun dog, but she also very much so looks like the sort of dog that it would be very easy to get frustrated with and like lose your temper on. And like it is like really incredible how well you handle her and how consistent and patient you are with her. Like really hats off to you. So yeah, do you have any questions or Meg, I bet you've got some thoughts on this one. Anything that sprung out to anyone
No,
else?
I'm just so excited for and like it's so good. I remember that moment. It happened to me like a month ago, and I was crying for like a whole week every single time because I was so happy and I'm just so excited for it.
We just need to keep putting y'all in like accountability groups roughly based on age. Like every time we get a batch of canine conservationists puppies that are within like 3 months of each other, we just need to be like, all right, you guys, you're gonna have a group chat.
Yeah.
And you can all go through it together because it's gonna be rough from like 7
It's
to
gonna be
24
so
months.
brutal.
But
Oh,
so
Sonia, you
far,
asked how
everyone's
old she
done
is.
have-
She's 2.
So far, they all have come out the other end. I don't think we've had a dog yet that like,
Actually,
yeah. I mean, Merlin's going for it, but yeah. Well, yeah. Did you have any questions or anything you wanted particular feedback on, Anne?
Yeah, I think so I think for right now, I mean I liked I appreciate your feedback on the timing. Like I knew with the clicker and the hands and like and I always forget to not move at the marker. And that's really helpful for me. I think right now, some other advice I got from her is to keep working her like in the house, her
Mhm.
searches, and then just do like that acclimation part right now, go to different new places and just work on like, because I think like when I released her to search, like she could search, like she did go search, but like she didn't really have her attention on me like I would really like before I start a search. So I think the plan right now is to keep going to new places and just doing the acclimation and then keep on working on the like actual hunting for things, like do those exercises in the house. Or I'm finding our back deck is okay because it's just like wood and like at least in and outside. But I think I'm hoping maybe by the next call we could start doing more like outside hunting searches. So I thought maybe I'd just ask how you anything you would give feedback on that part. So like if I get to that point, then I can see what I don't see now. I don't like get your feedback on that. So I start off on the right foot at least with
Yeah, I
like
think.
the outside part.
Well, one thing I want to check in with you on, and it sounds like you're getting plenty with this Joe Lawrence class, so don't add it on right now. But once you're done with that, you should check out Focus Dogs if you don't
Okay.
already. I can't remember the gal's name. I just recorded 2 podcast episodes with her, but her whole thing is like hyper aroused sporting breeds. She is a
Okay.
duck toller breeder. And she's just someone that like would be good for you to check out. As far as transitioning to outside, I think it's probably a lot of things that already are going to feel relatively intuitive to you as far as like a really small, ideally like fenced area that kind of minimizes some amount of 3D like brush in particular, I think is going to be really arousing for her. So, like if you've got like a baseball diamond, that would be bigger than I would like, but it would be a place to start.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in the meantime, what you could do is go out and pick, a tennis court, a baseball diamond, something kind of at that level of boringness.
Yeah.
And do your arousal games out there, and even potentially moving up to, can you have her off leash in that area and play arousal games where she's being released and coming back and released and coming back before you even start asking about odor?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would
Yeah.
be stuff I'd consider. I mean, and this is honestly like, definitely Meg and others can feel free to jump in because, this is part of the reason that I think my next dog needs to bring a Springer or a Cocker to have more experience to work with y'all on these sorts of dogs, because we don't tend to have this particular conglomeration of behaviors in herding dogs.
Mm-hmm.
She's a
It
Brittany,
doesn't
right?
look the same. We have other things, but like it doesn't tend to go like, even like I would consider Niffler like a pretty rangy, pretty birdy border collie, and he is nothing like that. So.
Yeah,
And
when
is
we
she a
get to it.
Brittany or what's her breed?
She's an English setter.
Oh, okay.
She's a very tiny English setter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kayla, you guys should get lots and lots of breeds so you can help us
Right.
with all different breeds.
You
You
let
guys
us
should
know.
each have like 12, 14 dogs.
You let us know when you find the billionaire who wants to buy us a ranch and pay us each salaries, and then we will get as many dog breeds as you want.
this is my life goal to just collect them. I actually genuinely want a Tola as a sniffer dog because I reckon that would be awesome. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. But I just recorded another episode with oh my god, now I'm gonna forget her name too. My brain is so leaky these days, guys. Natasha, who runs NHU Ecology Dogs, and she's got the really cute little
Oh, yeah.
and like talking to her about, I'm so excited for the episode to come out in like 6 months because we're recording a ton ahead of time, but like talking to her about switching from a Dalmatian to she wanted a Springer and like why she wanted a Springer and then how she accidentally ended up with the Cocker and like the fights that she's been having with this dog to get the Cocker to do what needs to happen. And then now she's actually got a Springer she's working with as well and kind of seeing all these differences. It was a really cool conversation. And yeah, some of these really, really pointy, flushy dogs in particular, I think have even kind of separate things from like the labs.
Yeah. That's my understanding anyway. I haven't had labs yet.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're in Joe's class because like she's the right person to be getting
Yeah.
that sort of stuff from. So okay, at risk of ending up here for 5 hours, which is why we this the order, so now we don't have to worry about book club. Let's see. Why don't we go ahead and do Maddie next? Maddie, do you want to share your own screen or do you want to send
Sure.
something to me?
Yeah, I've got it. Oh, it's disabled.
Yeah, hang on. Now it's not. There you go.
Cool beans. Okay, so this wasn't our longest search by any means, but I feel like it's a little bit more of a sniffing intensive environment. There's a lot of leaves. And so he's like really trying to explore more like kind of nooks and crannies. So this is what he looks like about 9 minutes into our search, and mostly I'm curious about his behavior. Oh no, I didn't optimize. Mostly I'm curious for your guys' feedback on what his behavior looks like. I'm going to show you a clip later of a find. And it's not that much later, but it's after he's been rewarded, and actually we had to like walk around a little bit to find some water, and I should have just rested him because he was going so hard for the first portion of it. And so really I just want to get more consistent behavior as we get further into searches, whether they be a long search that's not very intensive or a short search that ends up being intensive, but just as that we're kind of getting towards the end of our gas tank, kind of keeping things up and keeping the focus going. Find it. So he's doing a lot of the like checking in with me.
Yeah, he's doing the like, are we really still doing this?
Mhm.
You sure?
So then I kind of just like ignore him, and since the camera's strapped to me, y'all miss out on what he's doing because I just like actually ignored him and then let him go into search, and he's finding it right now actually. And so then but I mostly wanted your guys' feedback on that behavior of like, you know, he's checking in on me. It's not like he's, yeah. And again, these some really great recommendations here.
Yeah, for your over 50 makeup tutorial. That's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. So just really wanting to get better about longer or more intensive searches, kind of keep that motivation up. And it's not so much motivation, like he's still plenty motivated. It's more of just like, I'm tired, so I want to check in with you and see what you want from me. And I kind of want him to get a little bit more independent. It's hard because he started as a pet dog where I built in a lot of that checking in with me. So breaking some of those habits that are good for a pet. So yeah.
What I've been doing, I mean, as you know, I like have a lot of this with Barley in particular, and honestly, I'm seeing more of it with Niffler as he ages as well, is I think there's a couple different ways we can think about it. So one of the things I've personally really been working on with myself is just like letting myself be okay with re-queuing the search. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Where like, if the dog needs to be told again, like, as long as you're not like having to walk around chanting search to yourself for 4 hours, like there's nothing morally superior about having a dog that doesn't check in.
Sure.
And so I think, like that's something that I think is helpful. And particularly then you can also start thinking about like Sarah Stremming's milk, not water approach. Does everyone feel like they remember what that is, or should I explain it again? Okay. So basically the idea, the way that she explains it is it's a way to extinguish a behavior without causing as much frustration and an extinction burst is the theory. So if you imagine you've got a automatic water fountain and you put your hands under it and nothing happens, you're going to wave harder, you're going to like do all sorts of stuff, you're going to go through an extinction burst. Basically, you're going to get frustrated. And then like eventually try the other one, and that behavior is going to be like a lot more varied. And that's one of the things that we want to try to figure out how to avoid, because hypothetically, if he's checking in with you and then you just ignore him, he might start checking in harder, he might bark at you, he might punch off of you. It doesn't seem like he's doing those things, but like those are all possibilities, or he might quit on you. So that's where like giving him information, cueing him to search can be helpful. But also we could think about and this is what I did with Barley is, well, here, let me finish the example and then I'll get into what I did with Barley in Guatemala. So then if instead of that water fountain not producing water at all, what it did was spit milk out onto your hands, you wouldn't be hurt, you wouldn't be scared, you might be a little like grossed out, honestly, but like you wouldn't be hurt or scared, and you also wouldn't try again. Unless for some reason you wanted milk, unless you had a bowl of cereal with you and you're like, great, now I can like put that onto my breakfast. So I really like that example. It's very memorable. And basically what I did with Barley when we were working in Guatemala, that was his first time doing really lengthy searches in a very long time, because he had done some when we were at Working Dogs for Conservation. And then we had 2 years where all we did was wind farms. And then he came back to that. Every time he came back to me, I said, "Oh, you want water?" And like offered him water. And like half of the time he took it and he was like, "Oh my God, thank you. Yes, I actually do want water. I actually do want to stop searching. I will take the break." And half the time he was like, not really. And then I was like, "Okay, then go search." And like figuring out something that I could kind of consistently offer him, so that if he was coming back because he was tired or hot or had something in his paw, I mean, I should notice if he's got something in his paw, he's not sneaky about that the way some dogs are. That would be something I would be considering at this point for Bruce. Potentially. It's like, yeah, what's that alternate behavior that you could insert and offer him? And then he will start learning that checking in with you gets that. And if that's not what he wants, then he should check in with you less. And if that is something that he wants that is helpful during your search, then great.
Cool.
He's learning how to ask for it.
Yeah, that's great. I think we had some water recently right after that, but didn't give him a rest. And so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I was like, it just technically in my mind doesn't feel like it's been long enough for us to have a rest, but I don't know how intensive your sniffing has been. And like,
And he's
you know,
he's an intense sniffer. So it's really hard to say how long, given how intense he is, given the heat, like how long he should be able to go is tough to quantify. I know I got frustrated with Niffler on the wind farm sometimes, where he would go and lay in the shade of the turbine and I'd be like, "Buddy, we're 6 minutes into a search." And he'd be like, "Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm tired and I'm hot." I'm like, "Okay, fair, I guess." I mean, watch me trying to run him, 100 meters at top speed. And I'm like, "But how about we do a 50-meter dash instead?" This is,
yeah, for sure.
So,
Cool. Well, that's
yeah,
great.
but he's looking good.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Rachel, yeah, I had just sent my brother that clip, which is why that came up as a recommended. One of my recommended videos was that hot Kool-Aid sketch from like early 2000.
Yeah, I missed that.
Brother, I made this for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, that's a really old, that's funny.
Yeah.
The deep early days of YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Alice, are you ready to go next? If not, we'll
Okay, yes, I'm here. I just couldn't find my unmute button.
Great.
Okay, so let's see. These are pretty long videos, so I'm just going to have to talk through them. So let me optimize my screen first.
Great.
Screen. There I am. Share screen. Screen
And Anne, I
one.
just realized we didn't go over Sophie, so we'll do Sophie as well before we get to Taylor's videos.
Do you want to do Sophie first before me?
I was gonna say we could do her at the end since we spent so much time with Sue.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Just in case we run out of time.
Yeah. Well,
Although maybe Sophie's might be relevant to Megan, but she I don't know. I'm not.
yeah. And Megan, did you have video as well, or no?
No, it's been like 40 Celsius
Ugh.
here, like minimum of 25 overnight. So like I've done nothing.
Yep.
Okay,
that's
I'm
fair.
gonna do, we're gonna do Greta first. So this is just kind of a compilation of little searches that we've done, and I'll talk through them. So, Maddie, I used your suggestion of setting her up for success. So we have a little start routine, and then I just made it so she had some really, really quick
Yay.
wins.
Cool.
And
Wow, that was huge.
so that's our start routine. She sits by my side, and I give her a pat and say, find it. And she goes and
Nice.
finds it like that. And then I'm also transporting her to the sit position with a treat in my hand, which you're not seeing here. So I'm trying to eliminate all the distractions of getting to the search area before I send her. Okay, and then we went back. I might have to, okay, then we have one where there's a noise at the beginning. I don't know, I don't remember what it was.
I heard a horse on the other one.
Yeah, there's horses right over there.
Good girl.
So I'm giving her a lot of really easy stuff because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there was a noise, and I'm looking around, and she's looking around. She also gets to listen to my other dogs bark. Well, just one of them barks a lot, but she seems to handle it okay. And to me, she's like really working. She's like much more intense looking for stuff. Oh, the other thing that I've been doing is setting out the hide and giving it more time to age, because I think I was setting it out too, not long enough
Mm.
with a Kong. And I've also, right here, you see my little windsock sort of thing with a little ribbon, and it's showing that the wind is blowing from the left to the right.
I like that for your training areas, just get something like that set up.
Of course, then I forget to move it to the other places.
We're not perfect.
But here,
Okay. Oi, what are you doing?
so I think what's happening in this one is that she's upwind of it, and she has to move to the right quite a bit before she actually finds it.
She is such a nice little detailed, like nose in the dirt dog.
She's really gotten to be that. When she was on essential oil, she wasn't like that at all. She would just run.
I mean, she looks so much more like matured and methodical than she did just a couple months ago. I don't know how much of it is age versus training, but she looks
Yeah.
really nice now.
Okay, now we're back to that area where she took off on me
Oh my God, look at her.
in the big field.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Look at her.
And what was really outstanding was that a few days before there had been a jackrabbit carcass right here
Oh, no way.
that she found for me. She was doing a search. I didn't put that on the video. Okay, and this one is the longest one, so I won't show it all, but she just searches and she does a good job and she finds it. And I timed it, it was 1minute 15 seconds. So I thought, I should start timing them just to increase the search time. And then if it goes more than 2 or 3 minutes, I should probably cut it off, because maybe that, I mean, that, I'm not sure. What should I do? Should I let her keep searching and searching, or should I cut it off at a certain time?
I would probably move her downwind. I mean, if she's still searching happily, then I would use your body to kind of pull her in a direction that is helpful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, if she's quitting on you, then
Yeah,
that
she hasn't quit at all since I started giving her easier stuff to do, and aging the hide more too.
nice.
Yeah, there's a little change of behavior there. There's a change of behavior
Yeah.
right
Oh,
there.
nice.
And then says it's around here somewhere
You
there.
got it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of hers. Now with Emmett, let me tell you what I'm doing with Emmett. Let's
Mhm.
see. So I've gone back to his indication because I was never happy with the indication at all. He would like circle around it, and he'd lie down sometimes, and he'd sit sometimes, and he'd just look at it sometimes, and he'd ignore it sometimes. And I finally figured out, okay, no, this is not the right one. I finally figured out that I needed, because I was working on, the way I would work on it is I would have him lie there and stare at it, and I just keep throwing the food down. Okay, so I was building duration, but what I finally realized is I really was not working on that initial indication where he had to go to the ball and lie down and look at it. And that
Mhm.
never was getting any better. So in this video, it's like the 12 days of Christmas, but I'll just show you, here's the beginning. So this was my first thought. I'm just luring him down, and then I'm putting food and working on duration. Okay, and I kept doing that for a number of days till I kind of had a flash of insight that I was always in the picture and he was always looking at me because I lured him down, or
Mm.
and it just didn't seem right. So I finally decided, forget about duration. I just want him to go to the ball and lie down. So I'm going to just we'll go to where I'm actually working it. So I finally put him on a leash. And he just has to go in front of me, and see, he's still looking at me, and he's looking at me. And we worked on this so much. So he has to just go to it and lie down, and he's still looking at me. Okay, so now I'm going to stop and go forward a few more days. Ignore my weird clothes.
Nice.
So he's getting better.
Yeah, you're getting that timing right. That's nice. Good, buddy. Yay.
And I got some reps where he did not even look at me once. Good boy. Now he's still a little bit. So if he's too cockeyed, I just pull him off of it and do it again. Ready, golf ball. Good boy, that was ball. So I think I'm finally at a point where I can just take this on the road and do it in different places.
Yeah, I would even consider trying playing around with the blankets, putting it in different places in this room.
Uh-huh.
And think one of the things I saw with Niffler when I was working on this same kind of project is if when I started putting it in corners
Uh-huh.
or in places where his orientation to me had to change,
Right.
it fell apart on us a little bit. So even before you start taking it out of this room, I would start playing around with having it in different
Okay.
parts
Yeah.
of
See
this room.
here I'm trying to get him off of even just a foot off the rug, and it's hard for him.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now, like this picture is always looking so similar that before you change location, I would want to make sure that he knows how to find it, or at least how to indicate. He doesn't have to be searching, but how to indicate with a little bit more variety in that room.
Yeah. And he's also in Joe Lauren's course. I mean, it's at your own pace course, but he's even worse than, was your dog's name Zuzu that was doing it, Anne? Yeah, okay. So he's not when I first take him out of the yard, and we've done this walk like dozens of times. It's like a half-mile walk up the dirt driveway, and then we turn left and go another 400 yards, and then we come back. And he is so high because he wants to sniff everything that he can't give me 2 seconds of attention. He doesn't want food. He doesn't want anything. He just wants to go and sniff. And so I've been rewarding him with the sniffing. Like, okay, I hold him by the collar, and he finally gives up and looks at me, and I say, okay, go sniff. And so we've been doing this for days now, and he's getting better on the way back. Like, he's relaxing on the way back to the house, and he can take food, and he'll sometimes check in with me and ask for food. And the funniest thing, when I accidentally dropped the leash, he went a little ways and he said, "What's wrong? I don't feel any tension on the leash." And he actually stopped and looked at me.
Oh, yay, good boy.
So anyway, we'll just keep working at it and see where we can get with him. But I was real happy that he's actually driving to the ball now. He's pulling me there and lying down. So
Yeah, I mean, that indication is miles better than it was, again, like a couple months ago. It looks really nice. And yeah, Megan, do you want to jump in just and say for out loud for the record what you had done with Merlin for this sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, like I just ditched the things like that where, like, it's like interesting and predictive and whatever, and I literally broke the chain completely, put the dog in the car, and drove to the boringest ass place I could possibly think of, which was a supermarket car park at night. Like, so there were people smells, but there was no dog smells. There was no like bins. We were in the middle of the car park, as far away from the interesting stuff as possible. And like when I could get it there, then I like spent ages. Caleb's like heard all of the trials and tribulations, like driving around town trying to find the boringest places possible, and like so ended up finding this like patch of dirt behind some place that like no dogs went to ever, because Merlin's promised to pee, but like it's also just like no one ever goes there, so it's super boring and there's no wildlife, there's no grass to eat. And then I went there, and then I found like this industrial estate like didn't have any exciting grass, and nobody went through on their through walk, and like slowly built it up that way. Like I don't know, like I think there's something about the front gate that like I'm just like, put the dog in the car, drive somewhere else. And yeah, anyway, I found that, and it went faster than you would think, but I had to do it like one by one, or it like that's when I would start like crying, and because it all went to shit was when I skipped the levels. And now it's amazing. We can't do it at the lake yet, but we're slowly getting it.
Lakes are hard.
Especially for poor Labradors.
Poor abused, neglected Merlin.
Yeah, poor Labradors. It's so hard for their little brains.
Yeah. It's hard to be a lemon head.
Megan just said,
Oh.
stuck out to me, not the lemon head.
Yeah.
You said like the front gate is so hard, and I think like with Zuzu, that's also really hard. At our front yard, she loses her brain. But the back is okay because we don't go for a walk out the back. We go for a walk out the front. So like I was trying to do some of the exercises in the front yard, and actually today, so I don't know that this works yet, but my thought today was I stayed inside the house, but I opened the door, and there's a glass door so she could see outside, but we weren't going outside, and I stood by the door and did it as like an intermediate. So I don't know if that helps to try to like give some more intermediates before the walk out the front.
No, I love the front door back door distinction too, because yeah, even like, can you do it with visual on the back door? Can you do it with the back door open but not going out? Can you do it with the front door but not going out? Like those are really different things. And I think for some dogs, like I actually think for my dogs the back door might be worse because they've gotten into this horrible habit of racing each other out the back door. So there's all of this like excitement and attention built up around the idea of like, oh boy, we're about to go out, and like we've got a pretty good system. If I put them both in a sit and then I release Niffler and then I release Barley, like we can get it under control. But like, yeah. Your mileage may vary with back door versus front door being worse. So, all right, cool. Let's see. So Megan, it looks like you had something that you wanted to ask about as well.
Oh, yeah. I only wanted to ask, I just want to Lilo likes sniffing again, which is very exciting because that's taken ages. Yay! And so I'm trying to build her back up, but she, as a herdy dog, has the opposite problems of all of our gun dogs, and it's like super handler focused. And so I just want to like, I don't know, brainstorm some kind of independence games. I have like the one where I can like sit in a chair or stand like outside the room and cue her and just kind of wait. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to think of, I'm kind of spend all my time thinking about layering up like environments, and I've like forgotten how to do independence games, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone have any other favorite independence games? Anna's like, no.
Yeah, for Sophie, but it was a little bit different. You mean like independence for like a search game?
Yeah, I just want like different little exercises or ways of setting it up to try and get her to search with less focus on me. Like she's quite accurate and she'll search, you know, nicely, but she's often like, she often checks in with me and I'm like, I just send her back to searching, but I just like her to be a bit more like focused on the game and not on me.
Yeah. Is there anything that trigger, like, does she tend to check back in when it's hard? If you move in a specific way, is there anything that seems to trigger it in particular?
I think if I stand still, she looks at me. So like if I keep moving, then she's like, oh, we're continuing. And that's I don't know, one thing that really helps. And if
Go ahead.
I don't know, if I have to like task her into the corner or something like that, you know, if we're doing like a room search because she's missed it. And so like as soon as I get involved, she starts like going, okay, well, are you going to tell me where to search next? And so I try to minimize that, but you know, that's like, I also want to build that search pattern so that, because the pattern itself I find helps her when she's kind of got it. So yeah, I guess it's like trying to balance those two things. That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah, I wonder about like a lot of kind of handlers a dummy adjacent games of like intentionally setting up really simple things where she might even be in odor at start line and then turning her shoulders the wrong way. You know, and like, and then marking and reinforcing really quickly for that like odor obedience sort of thing. And that might be a quick a search term to look for, is like odor obedience games.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I bet I haven't done that with her because like she was started through like nose work instead of like all
it's hard for border collie, like the rotating shoulders around the wrong way is like that breaks their little brains because they are like,
yeah, she's like, oh, we're doing a spin now.
Yeah, but yeah, like even really like setting her up so she's in odor and then intentionally rotating your shoulders or even just your head or whatever it is kind of the wrong way perpendicular to it. Like, and you saw the video that I shared of Niffy where like as he was sourcing odor, I just intentionally kept walking as if I was like texting or futzing with my GPS or whatever, like practicing those sorts of things. One of the things I've been practicing with Niffy is intentionally setting it up so that the wind is at our back so that we would then walk past, and he only comes into odor once we're past it, and he then needs to like pull me back words in the opposite of the direction of travel. I haven't done as many of those as I would like, partially because our wind hasn't been consistent enough for me to like feel confident in being able to set up that exact puzzle. But,
Like,
that's
which way is the wind?
Yeah. Well, now it's just raining ice right now. It's horrible outside.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea if there's even any. Like, Oda just goes. Now it's like insane. And essential oil is so weird. Is what I've learned in the summer. I'm like in the
Yeah.
winter it like creeps along the ground, but now in the summer it's just like I'm everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, I really like that idea. I'm gonna try and mess around with that. I think that will help her, and it like makes me think actually I haven't done really hardly any of that at all. Like
Yeah.
I've done the like, okay, go search by yourself, but when I'm in the picture I haven't proofed that in any way, so that's super helpful.
We did a lot of that with the handlers in Kenya, where the dogs would like snap onto them as soon as they made any movements. And then it was funny because then they totally did the like kind of young handler overcorrection, where they started being like, okay, so what we're gonna do is while we're handling the dogs, we're constantly touching ourselves, and constantly opening the bag. And it was like, well, doing it constantly, like, I guess that helps. That's like a first step, but like, you got to get to the point where the dog can like ignore you when you intermittently open the bag. Just opening and closing the zipper every 30 seconds. Like,
Just like, what are you doing?
and it's like you see police canine handlers do that sort of
Oh
thing.
yeah.
They'll like be doing like this crazy tap dance things.
Oh, the weird tap dance, and then it's like
Yeah.
a cue, and it's so
Someone-
strange to me.
Someone must have done a bunch of seminars on that because it's very popular. But
Yeah, I keep seeing all these videos like on Karen Ford's timeline being like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, yeah, why are you doing this?
yeah, and again, I'm sure it's the sort of thing where it's like that drill might make sense in like a specific situation, but like, you know, like I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
have had to like practice being like, no, I'm going to open my bag and pull out my GPS, and that's not going to cause Barley to false alert. But I'm not like doing my entire search, just like opening and closing the bag every 2 seconds.
Funny, do you think Barley like back predicts the GPS? Because like you would normally get the GPS out after, right? So has he like
Yeah.
back predicted it? Like
I'm
in
not sure
reverse?
if it's that or if it's that the GPS and the treat are the ball are in the same
Oh,
pot.
they're in the same bag. Okay.
So
yeah,
it's I that's my guess, but I do
That
know
makes-
I think I've told you this story before. Like I have had it happen where this was like maybe 3-4 years ago, but I started realizing that I was pulling out my phone to film the last like minute or two of my searches. So Barley
Yeah.
started realizing that as soon as I was filming, it meant that he was about to hit Odor. And started doing all sorts of weird behaviors because he was like, oh boy, she's about to show
He's
the
so
internet what
funny.
we're doing. So oh god, yeah. Smart dogs. Don't get a smart dog.
Yeah, he's so tricky. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Sophie, Kepler, and Canna to get through. If anyone needs to go, we are at an hour. So, I mean, you can obviously, nobody's holding you captive at any point, but you have made it through your 1 hour. So why don't we do Sophie first? Just because Anne is here. And then Taylor, we can just tell her to scroll all the way to the very end. Okay, so we're optimized for video. All right, what's going on with Miss Sophie? What are we working on with her?
There we go. Not hitting the button. For her, you could probably go to when I line her up. You'd see the difference between the two dogs, though, if you want amusement value of us walking to the.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing to note here is her like how like she's on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sorry, my words are not catching up with my brain. With her, we started late in life with doing scent work, and she had a lot of agility background, and then we go for hikes and all kinds of things like that outside. And I was thinking that she just wasn't clear like what we were doing. like, am I asking for her to do like body awareness exercises? Are we going for a hike, or are we doing scent work? Because she would offer all these other behaviors. And I was in an online class that just finished up with like different little games to build motivation and focus and confidence. And the instructor there said, "Oh, I think she just doesn't have confidence. Like, just do some simple searches, like super simple, and have her be successful and just build her confidence in scent work." She's like, "I don't know that she doesn't know what she's doing or what her expected, but I don't know about her confidence." So I started doing that because before I did that, I would just kind of like, she'd come back, look at me, and I'd recue, or come back and look at me and recue. And so I started doing that, and now maybe go back a tiny bit, but we just walked out of the car, and then this is the search I'm getting. And I guess I'd love feedback on the mechanics of the search itself, because now I'm starting to think about that too, to make that really clean. And then also I'm trying to have her like her reward party be like really valuable to her too, to help build that search focus. I think we have turned a corner, like with doing these little simple exercises, but please give me your opinion if you don't think so, of like her like being confident like with what she's doing. And then if that's the case, then I kind of am thinking like, maybe what's the next step that isn't making it so big and complicated? Like what's a like a little baby step forward beyond something super simple to keep her confidence up, but then also maybe start to do a little more with her.
Okay. Does she have something with that back right leg?
Good girl. That's so
Good girl.
awesome. Look at you. Good girl, Soph. Good girl. That's so good.
She's just we're gonna watch that again. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's not what we're
Show
supposed to
me.
be talking about.
No,
But
back right.
yeah, her stride just looks a little short and a little high. It's almost like she's moving more with her hip and less with her knee.
Okay.
It's really subtle. I'm such a nut about this because of Barley.
Good girl.
Maybe try to get some video of her trotting back and forth past a camera and send it over to me, like on a nice
Okay.
surface, and we'll see if we
Yeah.
have anything that looks real.
So she's been treated for Lyme twice in the past year,
Girl.
and her knee was stiff, and she goes to a chiropractor, and we were doing some like stretching and
Mm.
new like kind of calisthenic type exercises with her. But I'm trying to remember now. I thought it was the left rear that
And
we were working
sometimes,
on that
yeah,
with.
I'm not. If she's already getting in and getting people's hands on her, that's probably better. Because sometimes I think it's sometimes hard to tell whether it's right or left. As the
Yeah.
point.
I'd love to send you something on that if you're willing to take a look at it, because
Yeah.
it's been in process, and the person we see doesn't get the chance to really see her move that much.
Yeah.
So I would love that if you're.
Yeah, and I'll keep watching it and see if is anyone else seeing that, or am I hallucinating?
There does look like there's a little bit of a hitch, but I couldn't tell if it was just like because she was being awkward with the ground or not. Like,
Right.
yeah, but I can kind of see what you're thinking, Kaylee. Yeah.
Look at you. Good
Okay.
girl, Soph. Good girl. That's so good. That was so good, Sophie. Soph. That a good girl. That a good girl. Very good. Very good. Very good, Soph. Good girl. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, done. Nice job. Yay! Sophie, Soph.
What? Can I do it again?
Yeah. There was cheese over here.
I would like to turn the cheese faucet back on.
Yeah. Let's turn it back on. What about now?
Yeah, I used my hand at that point. I was like, let's just stop here.
Happy feet. God, she's cute.
Good girl. Nice
Okay, one more.
Good girl. Good girl.
Okay, one more
Yeah,
again.
Good girl. All right, we're all done. Good girl. Good
Cool. Yeah. So, okay. So we're thinking like mostly for her, we want a little bit of like motivation, enthusiasm increase. What's she searching for here?
It's a morel mushroom.
Morel.
So Anne, where do you get your samples from?
Order dried morels online.
Okay.
Nice. That's a beautiful little odor hook. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, broadly for enthusiasm, you know, step one is figuring out what sort of thing the dog finds the most fun, or enthusiasm / confidence. So for some dogs, that is increasing challenge and
Mhm.
increasing complexity. And for other dogs, it's going to be making it really simple and really obvious. So, you know, she's a border collie, she's a thinker, she's got a long history of training. So it'd be interesting to see what you see as changes in motivation or enthusiasm if you make it really, really simple and straightforward for confidence building, or if you make it a little bit more like interesting. I'm not sure which one's going to end up working out for you.
I've also had to do a little bit of like increasing arousal for my overthinking border collie before anything, but including searches sometimes. And I've found, I'm sure it's super dog specific, so it might be completely irrelevant, but sometimes just like really simple tricks that she knows, like we do a hand touch and she like sometimes that gets her really excited. I just like get her moving a little bit quicker, like from side to side, and maybe even like back up and then come closer again. Or sometimes even pulling the ball out for a couple throws beforehand, then it kind of gets that excitement level up a little bit, and then she's ready to like move over into other activities.
Okay.
This kind of goes back to what I was saying about Alice's stuff that she ended up using this time. I mean, I have a cue for my dogs that's like it's only for searching, and there's a lot of context that I put into that. So he wears a special harness. He's allowed to pull on the harness. And so like I can use that harness to really geek him up. So I'll like if I have a really long line, I can wrap that around a pole and I'm holding it. This way you can do it by yourself. And then they're basically back tied and you like geek them up, and when they get excited, you let go and they get a reward. And so then like basically your excitement and your arousal and like maybe a little bit of frustration in there like gets you that reward. So for dogs that are so under, you know, that's we can bring a little bit of that out of them by using a lot of context clues like that. So it's like it probably wouldn't be, I mean, if you did it for especially your dog that likes to pull a lot, like do this in a context of like you only use your harness to pull. So like my dogs don't get hooked up to a harness when they're not pulling. So that's kind of like a context that helps with that. So
What is she like in agility, or what was she like in agility?
She like, yeah, super enthusiasm. She has no
Mhm.
start line stay. Like not at all. We find like when she turned like 9 or 10, I was like, I'm gonna stop trying. Like we're just gonna go have fun. But she's really like turned on, run as fast as you can. In the beginning, it was like, oh, like 3 obstacles back. Oh, did you want me to turn there? Because I was just gonna like go do these 3 things first real fast and I'll
Yeah.
see you around the bend. So,
I
but
wonder-
she's not like hyper, like I never had to bring her down,
Yeah.
but she loved the game and she was like all in, or she still is, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
all in.
It's so hard with this sort of thing because it's like I'm like trying to pull apart like clarity and confidence and enthusiasm and arousal, and like which one of these things are we wanting to play with? And it sounds like, at least in agility, we don't struggle with enthusiasm and arousal. So maybe here the problem is that clarity, which is kind of pointing me more towards like, let's try some simple things. And I would even wonder about maybe doing some speed drills. So kind of the opposite of what you were doing with your reinforcement in this one. Set up something pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Let her drive to odor, mark and reward quickly, and like leave her really wanting more with that reward. Make it something awesome. But
Mhm.
like, I'm thinking like 1 or 2 ball tosses or like just a little bit of tug, and then take her back, start her over again, and maybe have like 2 different rooms set up or something so you can go really quickly to the next really simple search. And there might be a little bit of like, I want that, you know?
Mhm.
So you're building like the clarity with the really simple searches, but also building a little bit of that like arousal and frustration that comes with agility through not over rewarding.
Okay.
And I think because it doesn't sound like she's a dog who naturally needs, and I could be wrong because we haven't talked a ton about her agility history. It's not like she normally needs a ton of pumping up. So it's almost more, I'm wondering if we can reinforce less, and that will actually increase some of the that digging in. And she's a dog who she knows how to dig. She know like not dig, but like dig
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, again, it's like based on which of these different levers are actually what we need to be pulling on, all of the advice is pretty contradictory. So keep a training log and see what
Yeah.
actually seems to be making what sort of effect, because
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. I've got nothing but time to play with her. So
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Cool. So let's see. I think everyone was just saying hi to Niffler. Yes. Hi to Niffler. Niffler then thought about eating
And
it.
Merlin made an appearance.
Yes. And Lulu, right? We had all sorts of dogs for a second.
Double trouble, yeah.
All right, let's see. So now we've got Sophie. So now let's see, Kepi. He's working on Birch. That's been out for 5 minutes. The goal is to work on a threshold hide with a second threshold at the kitchen. And then for the notes, she says she had to recall Kepler back to the hallway and is wondering if that's the right move. And she said that it was like he forgot what his alert was when he hit the kitchen hide, but got there in the end. So let's see what that looks like. And then we'll get on to Canna, and then we will let everyone go. And again, you all can leave whenever you need to, but. All right.
Kepler, searching. Yes.
Nice. So yeah, for there, because he did blow right past it. This is what happens with threshold hides sometimes. That's why we do this exercise. I think calling him back is probably a fine move there. Like, sure, you could have had him on leash to like force him to search slower. You could have just waited him out and see if he learned. You could also let him treat that as a blank, as a bit of a lesson. But yeah, one of the exercises that actually Robin Grubel mentioned, and we just took this systematic search class together from the Canine Census Foundation. She was talking about doing room searches where this was a strategy to get around HVAC really messing with the odor dynamics of a room. But before she let the dog into the room, she would crack the door open like this much and let the dog stick his nose in to check before she opened the door fully, and then open the door fully to let the dog in. And then, the HVAC is going to create a vacuum, but then you can close the door again. I would be really curious to try that as a threshold exercise. So if you crack the door a little bit and you're forcing the dog to collect themselves and sniff when they can't move their feet yet, I bet that would be a really cool way to start if they can get into odor right away. And maybe they're even recognizing that it's a high concentration. That might help them kind of learn to get on right away. I haven't done that yet, but it was just something that I heard in a class this weekend that it might be able to apply to this. So
Was that in person?
No, unfortunately. It was just an online, 4-hour systematic search thing.
How did I not know that was on? Okay.
I don't know. Heather found it, I think, and then sent it to me and Rachel. We should share those things, but it's hard to figure out what exactly needs to get shared where, because I don't want to be inundating everyone all the time with here's an available dog, here's a job, here's a class. There's too much to share, but then sometimes we don't share enough. So yeah, does anyone have any differing opinions as far as just the opinion of calling him back? Does anyone have any brighter ideas? Dissenting opinions?
No, I'm super interested in your thoughts on this because I've been sort of doing similar stuff with Lulu as well. One thing I was doing was if she just blew past, rather than calling her back and letting her get it on the way back, I've been calling her all the way back and restarting her so she doesn't get rewarded for going over and then coming back. She has to
Yeah.
get it. But yeah, I don't know what, like, I'm interested in your thoughts about like their relative success or whether it makes any difference or yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I've done enough different versions of working on thresholds with enough different dogs to have like a strong opinion about which approach is going to be that much better. Honestly, like a lot of times to get around this with my dogs when we're getting ready for big area searches, which is what most of us are ultimately moving towards, you know, I start the dog somewhere before the search area. And I don't move my feet until they have adequately searched the area that is around me. So they can take off like a shot that way. And unless I see them actually hitting and catching odor, I'm not moving until they can come back to me. And this is, we're mostly talking to Niffler here. But yeah, thresholds get a lot harder and a lot more important, particularly in like nose work competition, where you're working in really small spaces with tons and tons of odor from these essential oils, and you're timed. For us, you know, you want to figure out a search strategy that ensures that your dog is going to hit those thresholds. But we generally aren't searching indoors where there even is really a threshold. Your only threshold is making sure that they're actually on for the first minute or two of your search.
Yeah, I kind of came to that conclusion. I mean, Lily's obviously doing nose work, but I kind of came to that conclusion like at some point I had like a light bulb moment where I was like, oh, is it actually just making sure your dog's sniffing from the beginning and whatever you need to do, you know,
yeah,
make that happen. Yeah.
It's like it's definitely a good exercise and it's a great thing to work on in the winter. So, or in the summer if it's 40 degrees Celsius out. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever really done like an indoor threshold search with Niffler. And I think for Niffler in particular, one of the things that we'd run into is that the context is so different where he's like, well, I can't sprint 500 miles away from you anyway. So like he would probably actually look deceptively good at it indoors. In a way that I don't think would necessarily be reflected outdoors. Okay, well, get on.
Okay, go find another. Find
You go
another.
get it, good boy.
Find another. No.
And that, well, and see, okay, I'm sorry, and Taylor's not here, but I actually don't think I would have corrected him for that because then he went in and he was checking right away, and you may or may not, depending on like his specific goals, and I can't remember well enough whether you would want to reward him for a refind, but now that he turned on and was searching nicely right away from there, I actually wouldn't necessarily stop him doing that right after, because that was actually kind of what we're going for.
Find another.
Good job, buddy, though.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah,
Good
I don't
job,
know what
buddy.
that terrible alert was.
Yeah. Frustrated, confused, who knows? Yeah, that was funny though. That was I mean, he didn't bite it, so he slapped it, but
Yeah, I don't know what that
he's been worse before. So we'll
He's
take that
fine.
now.
Yeah, he was totally like, well, I did kind of a drive-by and looked at you. Why didn't you pay me for that one?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah. So he gets it. Yeah. And it's nice that he did go back on his own.
Yes.
He didn't have to re-queue him.
Yeah,
But
I don't
let's
know
go back and watch this first one.
Yes.
Okay, so he does properly alert there. I was wondering if she had clicked for sniff in the first one and then he was getting overly excited for the second one, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, just weird. If it's not a trend, I wouldn't panic too much about that alert because he has made so much improvement. You can see that odor's casting up. I mean, I think for Kepler, it always makes sense to worry a little bit about his alert because it does seem to be the thing for him that breaks. But
So why do you think he left that target and then went back to it like that?
my guess would be frustration. I think
Okay, Cersei.
I don't know. I'm not sure how often he does two tight finds together like that. That odor, if it's essential oils that's been cooked indoors for 5 minutes, and I'm assuming they've got heat on, there could just be like some really weird odor dynamics that has him kind of frustrated and confused, especially because I think she's been mostly working outdoors recently.
Because it looked to me like he went right to it and then he left it because he was unsure about should I really indicate or not. You know, it's like I would be worried that
Yes.
he's worried about indicating.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe.
It looked a lot like just that he kind of did it for half a second and then was like, "You're too
Yeah.
slow, lady," and came to get her.
Yeah, I think he was just,
maybe that's it. Yeah.
I think he was just anticipating a click because he looks
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
He's like,
I would describe this as like an anticipatory dog, not like,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. And especially
was
when he
my-
kind of comes back and like, he smacks it and he's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yes. I don't know
Um,
what that terrible alert was there, dude.
but yep. Okay, let's see. So now we'll get on to Canna, and I'm just moving us along a little bit, everyone. Sorry. So now we've got Birch. It's been out for 8-ish minutes, so I'm assuming these are going to be our same hides. She did a refind and she didn't report it, but praised her for it because it was a new direction. Okay. Still nervous around the brother, so she might have found it sooner if he was home. Okay, and she's been reprimanded for counter surfing in the kitchen, so she had to be told to enter the kitchen, that she can search there. Okay. And I think the brother is in there, so I think that might be a typo, that she might have found it sooner if he wasn't there, but we'll see. Because I assume that was the brother whose legs we saw in the other video. She's so much bigger than him, man.
Right?
Good girl. Yeah, and so that's interesting too. You can see that like for both of them, that like odor, that it did kind of hook back around. So I think Kepi he was rushing it and missed it. But it doesn't look, she didn't have odor here. She gets it there.
Yeah.
She is getting it kind of, and this is where, like, if you don't have a smoke pen or like a puffer or something indoors, it's just so hard to figure out some of these odor dynamics. Because again, if you're like HVAC is kicking on or off, or like pressurizing buildings in different ways, I mean, this is a house, so it's probably not doing anything crazy, but like, just because you're indoors doesn't mean that your odor is in like a symmetrical mushroom cloud.
Okay, find another. Find another. No, you found that one. Come on. Find another.
Good job. Yep, we gotta check out
Find another.
there. It's a little scary. We don't know if we're allowed in the kitchen. Yeah, a little avoidant. Checking though.
I'll just go back here.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure happening over there, which is, I think that would actually be something I would consider rather than futzing with her alert right now. I would probably be thinking about working on breaking out some of these different pressure points for her. Is it a constriction? Is it the kitchen? Is it the brother? Which, is it just complicated? I would actually think about focusing on that and helping her learn that she can push through and into that more than necessarily messing with her alert right now. Although, you can also do those two things separately, particularly alert training happens in such a different context in a lot of cases.
Good girl.
Not an either or. A good girl.
Okay, find another. Canna, find another.
And this is where, if you're thinking that, okay, we've got a constriction, maybe she doesn't comfortable with the kitchen, maybe it's the brother, Taylor could have maybe moved herself into that kitchen area to suck her in, is something I would consider, which like I can see, like, I don't know if this kitchen is a dead end. I'm guessing it is. There are a lot of other situations where I wouldn't want to take myself in there because now we're really, really crowded. But for this particular situation, because we've got the constriction, we've got the kitchen, and we've got the brother, it might be helpful to have Taylor pull that center of gravity in there. But again, like in a lot of cases, I would prefer to send my dog into a constriction like that without me, because otherwise I'm just going to step on them.
You found that one. Come here. Find another.
I like that one. There we go. Oh, okay. Taylor read my mind. Good job.
Yes. Good.
Yeah, good girl. Oh,
Kayla,
yeah.
on the first pass when she goes in, it kind of looked like to me like she was
New Year's
she had
resolutions
it.
are not the answer for you.
Let's see.
You need real.
And I wondered if you saw, like, she kind of was driving towards it, but then she was like, "Oh, feet,
Brother. Yeah.
yeah, I'm out." I wondered what
Yeah.
you saw.
Okay, I think.
You found that one. Come on. Find another.
Yeah, it's
Find
hard
another.
to say, like
Like, she didn't know where it was, but like it kind of looked like she got a little whiff of odor and she was trying a sauce, and then she was just like, "Oh my god!"
like
feet."
right, because she's casting right off that corner is where Kepler caught it, and then she's like, "Ugh, shit."
That's what I thought. Like it kind of looked
Yeah.
like she had something, and she was like, "Oh, I'll see." But oh my god, see. It's hard because the video's not there, but
Yeah, maybe. I can see it. It's hard to say for sure.
Find another.
The only thing that
Yeah.
I'm not sure about as far as that
question
goes
mark.
is and this could be, she's a young dog and she's relatively inexperienced, but she's not like, I guess I would expect if she knew that it was there, I would expect her to do a head check or a cast here. And she's going the opposite direction.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
It's hard to say because she's young and inexperienced, so she might be not doing this for any number of reasons, but she doesn't look to me like a dog who knows that it's in that direction but doesn't want to go that way. It looks like she doesn't want to go that way but isn't getting odor elsewhere. And then
Yeah, okay.
she might have gotten it there again, but she also might have just not wanted to corner herself by the brother.
Yeah, I just was wondering about it, especially on that first one, because she's so quick, and then she slowed down and did that thing. So yeah, it was interesting to me.
I could really see it either way. That's a really good eye, Megan. Let's see, when she does get it, what does it look like? Comes and checks in. Yeah, I still would like expect a little bit of a like,
Yeah, that makes
direction.
sense.
But again, we also just don't know what the HVAC heating, whatever situation is like. And maybe we're overestimating brother importance and underestimating not wanting to go in the kitchen importance.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, could she just maybe she just doesn't want to go in there
Yeah.
till Taylor
So
goes in.
let's see. That's there. Yeah, so I think there we see her like catalog it. I'm not sure if she gets it
Look at the bucket, maybe.
too far back. I'm not sure if she gets it at the dishwasher, so I don't think she's got it here. I think she might have gotten it right there, and then she casts off this ace bucket, gets it on the corner, and then gets it here. But yeah, again, when I'm sorry, I'm like really beating, and it doesn't really matter because we just won't really know, but do we get to see her coming through that threshold, or is she too quick? Yeah, she's kind of too quick, but it doesn't.
She doesn't investigate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, this would be a fun one if we had like one of those little puffer pen things to just see what it's doing like right there, because it looks to me like it's going in on that corner. but who knows? All right, we have gone over, I do think, so we were just talking about this in the last call. We're not getting a lot of engagement, I guess, on the book club. So we're gonna put it up to some discussion in the group and in WhatsApp what we're gonna do as far as book club goes. Do people want to try with like a different, like easier memoir sort of book? Do people want to try something completely different? Do people want to just do coaching calls and then we're comfortable doing an hour and a half long coaching calls as need be? Kind of see what people are excited about. I know there's a lot of like emotional enthusiasm for book club, but it's been maybe 6, 9, 12 months since the last time that we actually had like 3 or 4 people who had actually done the reading on the same call. So I think maybe we need to re-examine whether or not our excitement about book club is translating into real life reading. So just keep an eye out for that. I'm going to end the recording.